Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account and we're continuing our progression with our top 5 heroes within the faction. And today we are looking at our Celestials. Now this does not include the Awakened heroes, so this does not include the Awakened version of Athalia. Wanted to make sure that we broke this down, starting with number 1, which of course is Liberta. Now, overall, when it comes to any single game mode, Liberta can be put into that game mode. We've seen her literally from campaign formations to Temple Rift, Nightmare Corridor, Cursed Realm, even looking at the Twisted Realm. Then you move over to the PvP side, absolutely a monster in PvP. It's kind of crazy how much healing, how much damage, and as a support hero, it's crazy how many best in slot formations that we do see still with this hero used in every aspect of AFK Arena. Now, the optimal build is, of course, the plus 40 signature item, which we're starting to see a lot more of these heroes on tier lists that are going to that plus 40 signature item because, of course, it increased the health recovery of the Blessed Orbs and the damage dealt by the Punishing Orb. So the damage from the Punishing Orb goes to that 15%, which is a pretty strong buff right there. Looking at the furniture, it is a 9 of 9. We are building this out. Because of the different ratios when fighting alongside Lucilla, which of course is going to make a big difference. The ratios do change on there, dividing the health of allied and enemies, which is a very, very strong ratio. When you think of the allied getting 75 and the enemy getting 25, that is a pretty uneven distribution. Then, of course, when it comes to the engraving, we are looking at a 67. Now, that is where I have Liberta built as he sits today. Overall, making sure that you got some damage in there. But when you look again, when you're looking at the damage dealt by the Punishing Orbs and also looking here passive, for each Blessed Orb removed, 1 Punishing Orb will be created. For each 1 Punishing Orb removed, a Blessed Orb will be created. It's kind of, again, give and take. It's kind of the yin and yang that we see with these heroes. But when it comes to a build, and he is still the #1 priority when it comes to the Stargazer. Now you unlock that, I believe it is chapter 16. With any of the Stargazer scrolls that you get, it is the point of building out Liberta. Once upon a time, we used to get, 1 copy of the Twins, 1 copy of Mortis, this or that. Seems like the power creep has gotten to the game where you can get a hero like this and just really carry for a lot when you have Damon, when you have Ivan, when you have Liberta, especially if you lock pretty much any SP effect with an Awakened hero, you're going to do incredibly well. Now, very, very slightly behind her, or behind him, is, of course, Damia. Now, Damia is another one kind of coming in at number 2 to build in the Stargazer. You could either go with Damia, which a lot of players do build, or you could go with Lavatoon. That's kind of the second hero that you build. If you build Damia, then build out Lavatoon. If you go ahead for number 2 and you build out Lavatoon, then you go ahead and you build out Damia. Now, Damia, of course, very similar to Liberta. She is being used in pretty much everywhere in AFK Arena, and she has the ability to keep heroes alive that would have died, making her, again, one of the strongest heroes that we see in AFK Arena. Utility-wise, everywhere. Same as Liberta. The utility-wise, she is kind of used everywhere in all different formations. As you can see right here, we're trying to get her up to that plus 40 signature item, which is really big in here. So damage dealt by enemies within Damia is half of the battlefield. So if they are over on our side, 2 allies possessing the Dewy Nectar is reduced by 60%. So it takes it from a 50% reduction to a 60% reduction. Now, the big thing with this is even with the enemy, or when the hero is taking damage, is she has the ability to, like I said, keep them alive. But if you have the ability to mitigate the damage, you can get them all healed up. That way, when that ability ends, they're going to have HP and they're not going to be instantly killed, which is really good, especially putting in a formation with Liberta because of those healing orbs. It does work incredibly well, and the synergy between these two is very strong. But looking at the 9 of 9, Great Tordwin at the start of battle. Tordwin will not affect next until the skill Monsoon, Scorching Monsoon. When Tordwin is active, damage buffs can be stacked up to 10 times when enemies take damage. That is right. You are stacking a ton of buffs with this furniture. And again, very similar to what we see with Liberta, it is a 67 engraving in here as well. Very, very strong hero. And I like how this hero is built. I love exactly how it works. You have to get some engraving on there because it makes a big difference. Tenacity of allied possessing Dewy Nectar is increased by 30 points. So that goes right to the PvP side of the Treasure Scramble and the effectiveness of the heroes that we do see within that game mode. Now, next one we look at, coming in at number 3 for this top 5 list, is Ulna. Now, of course, Ulna not seeing as much utility in the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor, But when it comes to the treasure scramble, it is absolutely a necessity. When you look at tower formations, when you look at campaign, Alna is still a monster in a ton of different ways because she doesn't allow the enemy that are, or the hero that is with her to die. Very similar to Damia. Will keep heroes alive. And even though she is an older hero, the Frozen Mother works incredibly well. Now, build on her very simply. Plus 30 signature item is big. When Alna's health drops below 50%, the effect Winter Call are triggered. Winter's Call is the one that does not allow her to die, which again, 40 right here grants immunity to control while using Winter's Call. Not a really big push, not a reason to get it to a 40. 30 is really all you need. If you go to a 40, really the only effect you might have is PvP, but overall it doesn't make a big difference because you're worried about the other hero not dying, not Alna herself. Now, the biggest thing about having Alna and building out Alna is the furniture. When placed on the front line, the effects of the skill Winter Call will also affect the other frontline ally. That is the way that she keeps Alna Grez both front line. That's how it works. Looking at Alna and Athalia, looking at Alna and Rem on the front line, looking at Alna in the Awakened version of Belinda on the front line. This is the reason why players still do use Alna, is because she has the ability to keep that other frontline hero alive. And that is really what you want. When it comes to engraving, you do not have to engrave her. A 309 is really all that you need at this point in AFK Arena. I did build her up much higher long time ago because, again, utility-wise, she was pretty much everywhere. Now we're seeing her not used quite as many places, but still being seen in quite a few. Coming in at number 4 is the Chad. That is right. It is Vithiel. Still, when it comes to the Celestial Heroes, very strong damage-wise, does incredibly well with the buffing, does require a little bit of a build-out, so looking here, the plus 30 signature item. All allied heroes gain 100% of the attribute bonus from the Godly Physique. That, of course, is the buff that we have in there, getting 100% of the attribute bonus. Looking at the furniture, it is the 9 of 9. When his Vithiel receives excessive healing, it increases its max health up to 100% of the original health. His health percentage remains unchanged. So again, you can increase the max health of this hero, increasing the survivability of this hero. And engraving, we go to a 61, which right here I just have him at a 60. But overall, a 61 is where you'd want to get this hero. But again, this hero, even though we see him, again, a lot of different places, utility-wise, Tower absolutely starting to be replaced with a couple other heroes that we see within AFK Arena at this point. And I even think when we're breaking these heroes down the next 3 to 6 months, what's it's going to look like. If in the next 3 to 6 months we're getting 6 to 12 new heroes, we might see a lot of these heroes just drop a little bit further down the tier list. And the last one we're looking at number 5 is Halos. Now, overall, this used to be one of the absolute most pivotal heroes within AFK Arena. The shielding, the buffing, the cube that he does worked incredibly well. At this point, he's kind of a substitution if you don't have some other heroes built. We've had a lot of other support classes that have kind of come out and replaced him. Even looking at, Liberta and Lucilla coming out, looking at Lavatoon, but also looking at our light bearers, thinking of Jerome, thinking of Palmer. There has been a lot of buffing heroes that have come out in the past, working incredibly well. Now, of course, on here, we're looking for a plus 30 signature item. The Obelisk now additionally reduces the target's energy recovery rate, so being able to nerf some energy. With the furniture, it is the 9 of 9. The cube no longer disappears, and will grant the cube's carrier a shield. So, of course, when we first got the Dune Destroyer, the shield was absolutely massive in there. And then for the engraving, we're only going to a 33. Now, I did build them up to a 60, but 33 is good. If you do the 60, this is the reason why some players did build him. And again, I don't feel like he's really relevant anymore because we've seen him fall so far down the tier list. But overall, this was the energy recovery that we did use and really did use him for. We're going to have to see exactly what the fate of AFK Arena does look like with all the new heroes that are coming out on a regular basis. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for the top 5 heroes in our Celestial that are non-awakened. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.